Shalom to the elect of Israel, to the hopeful elect of Israel, you Hebrew Israelites, you so-called Negro, Latino, Native Americans, West Indians, and Haitians. Got to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh the Most High, the Heavenly Father. His Hebrew name is Yahweh. Not Yahweh, not Jehovah, not God, not Elohim, not Most High, not Lord, not Yah, not Jah, not Ahaya, not Allah. It's Yahweh. And his only begotten son name in the Hebrew is Yahweh Shah. Not Yahshua, not Yeshua, not Jesus Christos, not Jesus Christ, not Serapis Christos, not Yeshaya, not Yehoshua. It's Yahweh Shah. So got to give all praises and glory to Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shah, Bahashem Rekah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the other bishops and elders of Great Millstone who teach well, who are the apostles and elders of all Israel, ready to accept it or not. And a sincere salutation to all the occupants pushing this truth and believing this truth throughout the four ends of the earth, the entire world, waking up the hopeful elect. And shalom to the Akwath who are listening and learning. You few sisters who are listening and learning. I'm Isaiah from Jim Masalano Camp coming at you with a lesson of truth, facts, faith, and edification. Another day of edification, Lord, what is better find. So I titled this lesson, Why is there war and weapons in the land of uprightness? Why is there war and weapons in the land of uprightness, which is the land of Israel? So as I was putting this lesson together, I saw Elder Yashwama reposted this video on his channel, Two True and Through. So I want to play this and get some precepts. Lord witness be edifying. Turn this volume down. So like you bear with me for a second here. This volume right. Okay, so check this out. The reason there's weapons in war throughout the four corners of the earth is because of the wicked Esau Edom, who was given a sword. His father told him that he would live by a sword. So the reason everybody got weapons is because of the wicked. And everybody got their weapons pointed at the wicked. Check this out.
But as many are finding out, Edomites, the descendants of Esau, actually made up the Roman Empire.
Now there's a book written by William Beeston. It's titled The Roman Empire, the Empire of the Edomites. So you got these bug outs talking about the Messiah, Salaki, that the Edomites are done away with, right? Well, you got the Lord said they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. So check this out.
We are finding out Edomites, the descendants of Esau, actually made up the Roman Empire. As a matter of fact, the Jewish Encyclopedia also states that the name Edom is used by the Talmudists for the Roman Empire.
They tell you in the encyclopedia that Edom is modern day Jewry.
And they applied to Rome every passage of the Bible referring to Edom or to Esau. Where is Edom today? Esau's land was called Edom. Edom is the country of Jordan and the place of Petra, the city in the mountain. Look at the architecture of the photo at Petra, which is Edom. Notice how it resembles Rome along with many of the structures all over the world. Our sports stadiums resemble the Colosseum. Even modern-day sports are in fact derived from Rome. European systems of government are set up like the early Roman Empire, having both Senate and the Republic, local government, and other things as well. Esau's descendants are called Edomites. Later, they're called Idumeans. Idumea or Edom in Hebrew was the region south of Judea, originally inhabited by the reputed descendants of Jacob's brother Esau. Edom was periodically subjected to Judea under David and Solomon the Maccabees, homeland of the house of Herod. There were no natural boundaries between Idumea and Judea, so the borders were always in flux. According to the Jewish Encyclopedia, 1925 edition, in 163 BC, Judas Maccabeus conquered the Edomite territory for a time. They, the Edomites, were again subdued by John Hyrcanus about 125 BC, by whom they were forced to observe Israelite rites and laws of the Torah. They were then incorporated with the tribe of Judah, and their country was called by the Greeks and Romans Idumea. With Antipater the Idumean began the Idumean dynasty that ruled over Judea till its conquest by the Romans. From this time, the Idumeans ceased to be a separate people. Therefore, Edom later became known as the Roman Empire. With the sacking of Rome by the barbarians came the mingling or spoiling of Esau's seed, thus fulfilling the prophecy of Jeremiah 49:10.
But I have made Esau bare. I have uncovered his secret places, and he shall not be able to hide himself. His seed is spoiled, and his brethren and his neighbors, and he is not.
The Goths were Ukraine, Romania, Moldova, Belarus, Poland, and Scandinavia. The Saxons were Germany, the Dutch, the English, Northern Albania, Great Britain, Scotland, Ireland, and Wales. The Franks were France. The Lombards were Italy. The Vandals were East Germany, which were known for their senseless destruction, which is where we get the term vandalism.
He just named the 10 horns, man. Okay? The 10 horns. What it tell you in Revelation 17? Right? He just named the 10 horns, man.
Vandalism is the behavior attributed originally to the Vandals by the Romans in respect of culture, ruthless destruction or spoiling of anything beautiful or venerable. These kingdoms all branched off into other kingdoms such as Canada, America, Caucasus, Siberia, Central Asia, Sweden, Finland, Norway, Ireland, and maybe others.
So when you when you ask the question, where is Esau Edom? He all over the planet, man. They was never done away with. So again, why is there war and weapons in the land of uprightness and throughout the four corners of the earth? Because Esau Edom was never done away with, man. Okay? As I tell you in Genesis chapter 4 about Cain, that Cain dwelt in the land of Nod, mean to wonder, man. Okay? And the Canaanites came back as the Edomites, man. Reincarnation. Okay, when you read about the story of the Canaanites, okay, the descendants of Cain in Genesis 4, man, it tell you they was artificers of weapons, man. Okay, Tubal Cain. When you read it, these are the same people that's back, man. And weapons, they are masterminds of weapons, man. Just like Cain and his descendants was.
No, together these kingdoms all make up the rule of the entire world.
Right.
Esau and his kingdoms, Edom, will be ruling at the end of the world, and Jacob will rule afterward in the millennium under the Messiah, Yeshua.
You see that? They know, man. They know.
Many Bible scholars teach that the Edomites no longer exist, but Scripture clearly shows them in the last days.
Was not Esau Jacob's brother, saith the Lord? Yet I loved Jacob and hated Esau, and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. Whereas Edom saith, We are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, They shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom the Lord hath indignation forever.
Many people use this scripture to claim that Edom was exterminated, but this is not what the passage implies. It states very clearly that the Most High hated Esau and laid his mountains and heritage to waste. But in the next verse, it states, Edom saith, We are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. At the time of Malachi's prophecy, Edom was a wasteland between 445 and 432 BC. How do we know this? The Most High said, I laid, past tense, his mountains, and his heritage to waste. Edom's response was, "We will return and build the desolate places." So if Edom was completely destroyed, how could they say that they'd return? And why would Scripture give reference to Edom still being around in the last days? The Most High's response was, "They shall build, but I will throw down." This is a future prophecy that Edom will return and rebuild, but the Most High will destroy his kingdom in his final judgment against Edom in the last days. For Esau, Edom is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. 2 Esdras chapter 6 verse 9, the Apocrypha. The prophecy in Isaiah chapter 63 verses 1 through 6 confirms that this is indeed what will happen.
Who is this that cometh from Edom, with dyed garments from Bozrah? This that is glorious in his apparel, traveling in the greatness of his strength. I that speak in righteousness, mighty to save. Wherefore art thou red in thine apparel, and thy garments like him that treadeth in the wine fat? I have trodden the winepress alone, and of the people was none with me. For I will tread them in my anger, and trample them in my fury, and their blood shall be sprinkled upon my garments, and I will stain all my raiment. For the day of vengeance is in mine heart, and the year of my redeemed is come. And I looked, and there was none to help, and I wondered that there was none to uphold. Therefore mine own arm brought salvation unto me, and my fury it upheld me. And I will tread down the people in mine anger, and make them drunk in my fury, and I will bring down their strength to the earth.
When the Messiah returns, where does he go, and what does he do? He goes to every place where the descendants of Esau, the Edomites, have set up their kingdoms, and slaughters them for their perpetual violence against Jacob. He treads the winepress, and his wrath is accomplished. Further proof is in the book of Daniel, which states that in the future,
You see, they know, man. Okay, they know, man. Now another clip that LDS won't put up. I just want to make this point about the calendar, right? So in this clip, tell you how Rome changed the calendar, right? So we don't know what time frame we in, man, because the Lord established the time, right? The signs of the time by the moon, and the first month of the year is March. So let's play this.
In the mid-1st century BC, Julius Caesar replaced the old Roman calendar, which had 355 days, with a new one, reorganized with 365 days, with one leap year every 4 years. The renovated Julian calendar is essentially identical to the calendar system used today. Originally, the older style calendar put the beginning of the new year in March, at the start of spring. Julius Caesar...
See, they know these things, man. They know that the original calendar, that the original setup that Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shah set up, the first month is March, man. And they know this. Let's play it again. They know this, man.
nation's flag. In the mid-1st century BC, Julius Caesar replaced the old Roman calendar, which had 355 days, with a new one, reorganized with 365 days, with one leap year every 4 years. The renovated Julian calendar is essentially identical to the calendar system used today. Originally, the older style calendar put the beginning of the new year in March, at the start of spring. Julius Caesar had the new year coincide with the 1st of January. Most of the names for the months are derived from the original Roman names as well. January from Janus, god of doorways and beginnings. February is derived from the Roman festival of Februa. March is the month of Mars, the god of war. April comes from the Roman month Aprilis. May for the Roman Maya, goddess of spring. June is named after the queen of the gods, Juno. July gets its name from Julius Caesar, who rededicated the month after himself. August was renamed in the same fashion after Augustus, first emperor of Rome. And September, October, November, and December simply mean the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th month. Certain religious festivals from ancient Rome were replaced with Christian holidays as paganism declined under alternate names but with similar meaning. A Roman festival known as Lupercalia celebrated fertility and health. It was held February 15th and is the modern equivalent of St. Valentine's Day. Often used as a symbol for the modern holiday is the chubby winged child known as Cupid, which was the Roman god of erotic love. In December, Romans would honor the god Saturn during the week-long celebration of Saturnalia. This was held at the end of the month and is believed to be the basis for celebrating Christmas during this time.
So who set these things up, man? Who set these things up? It was Esau Edom, man. And I want to play this one more time, the end of this clip, because these guys just said that when the Messiah returns, at the end of time,
Therefore mine own arm brought salvation
he's
unto
going
me.
to all the places what Edom is in rulership at, man. Let's play this again.
Confirms that this is indeed what will happen.
Who is this that cometh from Edom, with dyed garments from Bozrah? This that is glorious in his apparel, traveling in the greatness of his strength. I that speak in righteousness, mighty to save. Wherefore art thou red in thine apparel, and thy garments like him that treadeth in the wine fat? I have trodden the winepress alone, and of the people was none with me. For I will tread them in my anger, and trample them in my fury, and their blood shall be sprinkled upon my garments, and I will stain all my raiment. For the day of vengeance is in mine heart, and the year of my redeemed is come. And I looked, and there was none to help, and I wondered that there was none to uphold. Therefore mine own arm brought salvation unto me, and my fury it upheld me. And I will tread down the people in mine anger, and make them drunk in my fury, and I will bring down their strength to the earth.
Happen. When the Messiah returns, where does he go and what does he do? He goes to every place where the descendants of Esau, the Edomites, have set up their kingdoms and slaughters them for their perpetual violence against Jacob. He treads the winepress and his wrath is accomplished.
You see that? So they know when the Messiah returns, it's going to go to every place where Esau Edom is at and destroy them. So what is vocab talking about, man? Now, let's get these precepts. That's beautiful, man. In Isaiah 2:1, so I titled this lesson, why is there war and weapons in the land of uprightness and throughout the four corners of the earth? Why is there war and weapons? So this is I'm gonna get here in Genesis 27. This Genesis 27, verse 40 reads, this is what Isaac told Esau. And by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother, and it shall come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion, thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. And this happened. David had the Edomites in submission, but then they break the submission during the time of Solomon, right? After Solomon went off. It say, and by thy sword shalt thou live, right? So in Revelation 6, you see, these devils know, man. It's Revelation 6:4. And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another, and there was given unto him a great sword. That's why this devil had the #1 military around the world, man. And look how the biggest military is with Esau, North America, Babylon the Great, Edomites. Then you got the Russians, right? It say, and there was given unto him a great sword, right? Also in verse 8, and I looked and behold a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him, and power was given unto him over the fourth part of the earth. What's the fourth part of the earth? Who's in rulership? The Roman Empire. They were the fourth beast, right? In Daniel 7. And power was given unto him over the fourth part of the earth to kill with the sword and with hunger. Who's bringing famine? It's Yahweh Shema Shai, but who is he using to bring famine? Esau, Edom. And power was given unto him over the fourth part of the earth to kill with the sword and with hunger and with death and with the beasts of the earth, man. So, hey, this is cold, man. So right here, let's play this one more time. It say,
length to the earth.
Happen. When the Messiah returns, where does he go and what does he do? He goes to every place where the descendants of Esau, the Edomites, have set up their kingdoms and slaughters them for their perpetual violence against Jacob.
So these Edomites know when Yahweh shall return, man, he's going everywhere where Edom is in power, man. Right? So this is beautiful. So why is there war and weapons in the land of uprightness, man? Because Esau, Edom is still in rulership. Now this is Isaiah 2 and 1. It reads, the word that Isaiah the son of Amos saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem. And it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established in the top of the mountains, and shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow unto it. And many people shall go and say, come ye, and let us go up to the mountain of Yahweh, to the house of the God of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law, and the word of Yahweh from Jerusalem. And he shall judge among the nations, and shall rebuke many people, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. Because Esau, Edom is going to be done away with, man. Ain't going to be no more war in the earth, man. Right? It said the same thing in Micah 4 and 1. So why is there war? Why is there war and weapons in the land of uprightness and throughout the four corners of the earth? Because Esau, Edom is still here, vocab. He's still here, man. He was never done away with. Micah 4 and 1. But in the last days, it shall come to pass that the mountain of the house of Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shah, shall be established in the top of the mountains. That meaning the lowest kingdom is going to be established over every other kingdom on the earth. That's why I tell you in Revelation 19, that on his head were many crowns, man. Because Yahweh Shah is coming to conquer all nations, man. Starting with Esau, Edom. It say that the mountain of the house of Yahweh shall be established in the top of the mountains, and it shall be exalted above the hills, and people shall flow unto it. And many nations shall come and say, come, let us go up to the mountain of Yahweh Shema Shah, and to the house of the God of Jacob. And he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For the law shall go forth out of Zion, in the word of Yahweh Shema Shah from Jerusalem. And he shall judge among many people, and rebuke strong nations. The strong nations shall be rebuked afar off, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation should not lift up a sword against nation, neither shall they learn war, any more. You see? So in Jeremiah 33, ain't gonna be no more war, man, when the kingdom of heaven is established. So if these are the chosen people of the Lord in the Holy Land right now, why is there war and weapons in the land of Israel right now, man. Because prophecies say there will be no more war, man. There will be no weapons. It said they shall beat their swords and the plowshares and their spears back into pruning hooks, meaning tools used for agriculture, right? So in Joel, right now, the Lord said what? This is Joel 3 and 10. Beat your plowshares in the swords and your pruning hooks in the spears. Let the weak say I'm strong. So right now, World War III is being brewed up. Okay, so the Lord told them to take their plowshares, beat their plowshares in the swords and their pruning hooks in the spears. So right now, the weapons of war is in the earth. Why? Because of World War III, man. But in Isaiah 2 and in Michael 4, the Lord said they're going to take their plowshare, they're going to take their swords and turn them into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks because ain't going to be no more war. War going to be done away with, right? So why is there war and weapons in the land of Israel, man? Because Esau, Edom is still in the earth, vocab. Joel 3 and 9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, because the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Beat your plowshares in the swords, and your pruning hooks in the spears, let the weak say I am strong. Right? Let's read this again in Isaiah. In Isaiah and Michael, it said, they're gonna do what? Isaiah 2 and 4, he shall judge among the nations and shall rebuke many people, and they shall beat their swords in the plowshares and their spears in the pruning hooks. Well, in Joel, he said, let's read again, beat your plowshares in the swords and your pruning hooks in the spears, let the weak say I'm strong. Right now, the Lord got them spending their money on missile defense systems, right? On getting their warheads together, man. But when the kingdom of heaven is established, it ain't gonna be no more weapons of war. So in Jeremiah 33, it reads this: Behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, that I will perform that good thing which I have promised unto the house of Israel and to the house of Jacob. What's that good thing? Kingdom of heaven, man. Everlasting righteousness, everlasting life, man. Enjoying real life, breathing real air, eating real food, drinking real water, man. Enjoying your kids, okay? Enjoying your family, man. Nation building. Behold, the days come, saith Yahweh Shema Shah, that I will perform that good thing which I had promised unto the house of Israel and to the house of Judah. And this goes back to Exodus 24, man. In those days and at that time, will I cause the branch of righteousness to grow up unto David, and he shall execute judgment and righteousness in the land. In those days shall Judah be saved, and Jerusalem shall dwell safely. And this is the name wherewith she shall be called the Lord our righteousness. For thus saith Yahweh Shema Shah, David shall never want a man to sit upon the throne of the house of Israel, because David is going to be there, man. Okay? Under Yahweh Shah will be King David. Under King David will be the 144,000, man. And though it say, but thus saith the Lord, David shall never want a man to sit upon the throne of the house of Israel. Neither shall the priests, the Levites, want a man before me to offer burnt offerings and to kindle meat offerings and to do sacrifices continually. Because King David going to be under Yahweh Shah, the 144,000, and everything going to be in order, man. This is Jeremiah 23 and verse 5. It reads, Behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, that will raise unto David a righteous branch, and a king shall reign and prosper, and shall execute judgment and justice in the earth. In his days, Judah shall be saved, and Israel shall dwell safely, and this is his name whereby he shall be called the Lord our righteousness. You see, Yahweh Shai, man, in Luke 1, In verse 30 it reads, And the angel said unto her, Fear not, Mary, for thou hast found favor with God. And behold, thou shalt conceive in thy womb and bring forth a son, and thou shalt call his name Yahweh. He shall be great, and shall be called the Son of the Highest. And the Lord God shall give unto him the throne of his father David. And he shall reign over the house of Jacob forever, and of his kingdom there shall be no end. So, why is there war and weapons in the land of uprightness and throughout the four corners of the earth? Because Esau, Edom, is still here, man. They are still here. In the land of uprightness, Yahweh is going to be there. King David is going to be there. The Israelites will, all 12 tribes will be there, man. The scripture said that will be angels at all four gates, man. And it tell you in the land of Israel that the 12 names of the Israelites will be on the gates of the kingdom, man. Okay, it said on all four gates, man. The names of the 12 tribes of Israel, man. And the 12 apostles, man. Where is that at in the land of Israel right now? And see, this is prophecy, man, which Christianity don't want to deal with. Ezekiel 37 and 15 reads, The word of Yahweh came again to me, saying, Moreover, thou son of man, take thee one stick, and write upon it for Judah and for the children of Israel, his companions. Then take another stick and write upon it for Joseph, the stick of Ephraim, and for all the house of his companions, and join them one to another into one stick. And they shall become one in thine hand, which is this the 12 tribe sign that you see we have. And when the children of thy people shall speak unto thee, saying, Will thou not show us what thou meanest by these? So when Jay come past the camp, they supposed to inquire what the sign is, what's going on with the sign, man. But most of them don't. Say unto them, Thus saith Yahweh Shema power, Behold, I will take the stick of Joseph, which is in the hand of Ephraim, and the tribes of Israel, his fellows, the northern kingdom, and put them with him, even with the stick of Judah, and make them one stick, and they shall be one in thine hand. And it tell you this in Hebrews 8, man. Okay? He says he's gonna make a covenant with Israel and Judah. In that day they shall be one nation, man. One, not two separate nations. It say, even with the stick of Judah, and make them one stick, and they shall be one in my hand. And the sticks whereon thy writer shall be in thy hand before their eyes. And say unto them, Thus saith Yahweh Shema power, Behold, I will take the children of Israel from among the heathen, whether they be gone, and will gather them on every side, and bring them into their own land. And I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel, and one king shall be king to them all. And they shall be no more two nations, neither shall they be divided into two kingdoms any more at all. Neither shall they defile themselves anymore with their idols. The Lord said He's going to scatter us in Deuteronomy 4. He said He's going to scatter us, and we was going to be living among the heathen, and we shall serve God's wood and stone, silver and gold. Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 27 through 29. It say, Neither shall they defile themselves anymore with their idols, nor with their detestable things, nor with any of their transgressions. And this how we know, man. According to Deuteronomy chapter 4, man. It said, But I will save them out of all dwelling places wherein they have sinned, and will cleanse them, so shall they be my people, and I will be their God. And David, my servant, shall be king over them, and they all shall have one shepherd. They shall also walk in my judgments, and observe my statutes, and do them. And they shall dwell in the land that I have given unto Jacob, my servant, wherein your fathers have dwelt. And they shall dwell therein, even they, and the children, and their children's children, forever. And my servant David shall be their prince forever. Moreover, I will make a covenant of peace with them. It shall be an everlasting covenant with them, and I will place them and multiply them, and will set my sanctuary in the midst of them forevermore. My tabernacle also shall be with them, Yah will be their God, and they shall be my people, and the heathen shall know that I, Yahweh, do sanctify Israel, when my sanctuary shall be in the midst of them forevermore. So, why is there weapons and war in the land of Israel? Because the Idumeans still exist, man. This is Ezekiel 39:7. So will I make my holy name known in the midst of my people Israel, and I will not, Salakia, and I will not let them pollute my holy name anymore. And the heathen shall know that I am the Lord Yahweh, the Holy One of Israel. Behold, it is come, and it is done, saith Yahweh Shema Shah power. This is the day whereof I have spoken. And they that dwell in the cities of Israel shall go forth and shall set on fire and burn the weapons, both the shields and the bucklers, the bows and the arrows, and the handstaves and the spears, and they shall burn them with fire 7 years, so that they shall not take no wood out of the field, neither cut down any out of the forests, for they shall burn the weapons with fire, and they shall spoil those that spoil them, and rob those that rob them, saith Yahweh Shema Shah power. You see, the weapons gonna get burnt up, man. Ain't gonna be no more weapons, man. This is Isaiah 26:10. It reads, let favor be shewed to the wicked, yet will he not learn righteousness. In the land of uprightness will he deal unjustly. And the Lord showed these Edomites favor by letting them rule the earth, man. The Lord showed you favor. And how has he ruled the earth? In wickedness, man. It say, let favor be shewed to the wicked, yet will he not learn righteousness. Why? Because they that are accustomed to doing evil cannot do good, man. Like it say in Jeremiah 13:23. Right? They that are accustomed to doing evil cannot do good, man. The Lord appointed them to be the wicked. Let favor be shewed to the wicked, yet will he not learn righteousness. In the land of uprightness will he deal unjustly. That's where the biggest gay parade's at, man. Okay? There's a lot of murder going on over there, man. There's a lot of war and weapons over there. And will not behold the majesty of Yahweh Shema Shai, man. Okay? Let's get this. Ecclesiastes 4:1, it reads, so I return and consider all the oppressions that are done under the sun. So Solomon said, so I return and consider all the oppressions that are done under the sun. And behold, the tears of such as were oppressed, and they had no comforter. And on the side of their oppressors, there was power, but they had no comforter. And on the side of the oppressors, there was power, but there was no comforter, man. Who's in rulership? It's the wicked, man. That's why I say this in Psalms 91:13. It reads, let's read this. So in Psalms 91:11, for he shall give his angels charge over thee, over the whole elect, to keep thee in all thy ways. They shall bear thee up in their hands, lest thou dash thy foot against a stone. Thou shalt tread upon the lion, the Edomites, and the adder. It say and adder. It tell you in Psalms 53, in Psalm 58:3, that they are like the deaf adder that stoppeth their ears, right? Thou shalt tread upon the lion and adder, the young lion, and the dragon shall thou trample on the feet. This is talk about Esau Edom. This is what the whole elect is going to do to Esau Edom, man. Let's get this one. This is what the Lord is saying is going to happen when he return, man. In Psalms 68 and verse 23, it say, that thy foot may be dipped in the blood of thy enemies, and the tongue of thy dogs in the same, man. Just read 20. Let's read this is Psalm 68 and 21. But God shall wound the head of his enemies, starting with Esau, Edom, and the hairy scalp of such as one as go on still in his trespass, which is 2/3 of Jake. The Lord said, I will bring again from Bashan, I will bring my people again from the depths of the sea, from out of the midst of the people, scatter among the nations, that thy foot may be dipped in the blood of thine enemies, in the tongue of thy dogs, in the same. Right? Psalms 58 and 10. It reads, the righteous shall rejoice when he seeth the vengeance, he shall wash his feet in the blood of the wicked. So in Psalm 91, the Lord said, Psalm 91 and 13, thou shalt tread upon the lion and adder, the young lion and the dragon shalt thou trample under feet. Now, when you go to Genesis 3, right, and 15, it say, and I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. It shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. Right? The precept to that is Romans. This is Romans 16 and 20. It's talking about Yahushua when he returned, he's going to bruise these devils completely. Remember it said in Revelations that the fatal wound, that they had a fatal wound, but their wound was healed, right? And then that wound was healed, which is North America, Babylon the Great, the revived Roman Empire. Well, the Lord is going to wound them permanently in the head, man. This is Revelation. This is Romans 16 and 20, which is the precept to Genesis 3 and 15. And the God of peace, which is Yahushua, shall bruise Satan under your feet shortly. The grace of our Lord Yahushua Mashiach be with you. Right? It say, and the God of peace shall bruise Satan under your feet shortly. So what I just read in Psalms 68 and 23, it say that thy foot may be dipped in the blood of thy enemies, and the tongue of thy dogs in the same. Psalms 58. This is talking about the whole elect, man. The righteous shall rejoice when he seeth the vengeance. He shall wash his feet in the blood of the wicked. So we know the Edomites are still here, man. The Lord said also in Ezekiel 25, got to read this. Ezekiel 25 and 12, it reads, thus said Yahweh Shema power, because that Edom have dealt against the house of Judah by taking vengeance, and have greatly offended and revenged himself upon them. You see? So that's the Lord gonna let the Lord gonna let the elect get some in too, man. Okay? They ain't just do it to Yahushua, man. They did it to all Yahushua's brethren. Okay, his brethren, his Akim and Akwaf, man. Okay? It say, thus saith Yahweh Shema power, because that Edom had dealt against the house of Judah by taking vengeance, and have greatly offended and revenged himself upon them. Therefore, thus saith Yahweh Shema power, I will also stretch out my hand upon Edom, and will cut off man and beast from it, and will make it desolate from Teman, and they of Dedan shall fall by the sword. And I will lay my vengeance upon Edom by the hand of my people Israel, and they shall do in Edom according to mine anger and according to my fury, and they shall know my vengeance, saith Yahweh Shema power. Didn't it say that in Psalms 58? It said, Psalms 58, Salakia. In Psalms 58, it said about the vengeance, right? It say, the righteous shall rejoice when he seeth the vengeance. You see? Because they tell you in Psalms 91, to get this again, Psalms 91 in verse, it say, Psalms 91 in verse 8, only with thine eyes shall thou behold and see the reward of the wicked. Right? Verse 13, thou shalt tread upon the lion and adder, the young lion and the dragon shall thou trample under feet, man. And this is starting with Yahweh, man. Okay? Romans. Romans 16 and 20. And the God of peace shall bruise Satan under your feet shortly, man. Okay? Shortly. So I want to play this one more time. We're going to close out. I just want to make some points on this, man. Let's play this again from the top, man. This is beautiful.
We are finding out Edomites, the descendants of Esau, actually made up the Roman Empire. As a matter of fact, the Jewish Encyclopedia also states that the name Edom is used by the Talmudists for the Roman Empire, and they applied to Rome every passage of the Bible referring to Edom or to Esau. Where is Edom today? Esau's land was called Edom. Edom is the country of Jordan and the place of Petra, the city in the mountain. Look at the architecture of the photo at Petra, which is Edom. Notice how it resembles Rome along with many of the structures all over the world. Our sports stadiums resemble the Colosseum. Even modern-day sports are in fact derived from Rome. European systems of government are set up like the early Roman Empire, having both Senate and the Republic, local government, and other things as well. Esau's descendants are called Edomites. Later, they're called Idumeans. Idumea or Edom in Hebrew was the region south of Judea, originally inhabited by the reputed descendants of Jacob's brother Esau. Edom was periodically subjected to Judea under David and Solomon the Maccabees, homeland of the house of Herod. There were no natural boundaries between Idumea and Judea, so the borders were always in flux. According to the Jewish Encyclopedia, 1925 edition, in 163 BC, Judas Maccabeus conquered the Edomite territory for a time. They, the Edomites, were again subdued by John Hyrcanus about 125 BC, by whom they were forced to observe Israelite rites and laws of the Torah. They were then incorporated with the tribe of Judah, and their country was called by the Greeks and Romans Idumea. With Antipater the Idumean began the Idumean dynasty that ruled over Judea till its conquest by the Romans. From this time, the Idumeans ceased to be a separate people. Therefore, Edom later became known as the Roman Empire. With the sacking of Rome by the barbarians came the mingling or spoiling of Esau's seed, thus fulfilling the prophecy of Jeremiah 49:10.
But I have made Esau bare. I have uncovered his secret places, and he shall not be able to hide himself. His seed is spoiled, and his brethren and his neighbors, and he is not.
The Goths were Ukraine, Romania, Moldova, Belarus, Poland, and Scandinavia. The Saxons were Germany, the Dutch, the English, Northern Albania, Great Britain, Scotland, Ireland, and Wales. The Franks were France. The Lombards were Italy. The Vandals were East Germany, which were known for their senseless destruction, which is where we get the term vandalism. Vandalism is the behavior attributed originally to the Vandals.
And again, you see, he just mentioned the 10 horns, man, in Revelation 17. The 10 horns upon the beast, man. Edomites are still here, man. They ain't going nowhere. Listen to this, and this. It appears to be an Edomite that's doing this, man. Listen.
By the Romans in respect of culture, ruthless destruction or spoiling of anything beautiful or venerable. These kingdoms all branched off into other kingdoms such as Canada, America, Caucasus, Siberia, Central Asia, Sweden, Finland, Norway, Ireland, and maybe others.
See?
No, together these kingdoms all make up the rule of the entire world. Esau and his kingdoms, Edom, will be ruling at the end of the world, and
Hey, that's beautiful, man. Let me get these two precepts. In Psalm 68, in Psalm 64, in verse 7, it reads, But God shall shoot at them with an arrow, suddenly shall they be wounded. So they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away. Job 15 and 5, it reads, For thy mouth uttereth thine iniquity, And thou choosest the tongue of thy crafty, of the crafty. And we know they crafty. The scriptures call them crafty. Thy own mouth condemneth thee, and not I. Yeah, thy own lips testify against thee. This Edomite doing this, man.
Jacob will rule afterward in the millennium under the Messiah, Yeshua.
Hold on.
Make up the rule of the entire world. Esau and his kingdoms, Edom, will be ruling at the end of the world, and Jacob will rule afterward in the millennium under the Messiah, Yeshua. Many Bible scholars teach that the Edomites no longer exist, but scripture clearly shows them in the last days.
Was not Esau Jacob's brother, saith the Lord? Yet I loved Jacob and hated Esau, and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. Whereas Edom saith, We are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, They shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom the Lord hath indignation forever.
Many people use this scripture to claim that Edom was exterminated, but this is not what the passage implies. It states very clearly that the Most High hated Esau and laid his mountains and heritage to waste. But in the next verse, it states, Edom saith, We are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. At the time of Malachi's prophecy, Edom was a wasteland between 445 and 432 BC. How do we know this? The Most High said, I laid, past tense, his mountains and his heritage to waste. Edom's response was, We will return and build the desolate places. So if Edom was completely destroyed, how could they say that they'd return? And why would scripture give reference to Edom still being around in the last days? The Most High's response was, They shall build, but I will throw down. This is a future prophecy that Edom will return and rebuild, but the Most High will destroy his kingdom in his final judgment against Edom in the last days. For Esau, Edom is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. 2 Esdras chapter 6, verse 9, the Apocrypha. The prophecy in Isaiah chapter 63, verses 1 through 6, confirms that this is indeed what will happen.
Who is this that cometh from Edom, with dyed garments from Bozrah? This that is glorious in his apparel, traveling in the greatness of his strength. I that speak in righteousness, mighty to save. Wherefore art thou red in thine apparel, and thy garments like him that treadeth in the wine fat? I have trodden the winepress alone, and of the people was none with me. For I will tread them in my anger, and trample them in my fury, and their blood shall be sprinkled upon my garments, and I will stain all my raiment. For the day of vengeance is in mine heart, and the year of my redeemed is come. And I looked, and there was none to help, and I wondered that there was none to uphold. Therefore mine own arm brought salvation unto me, and my fury it upheld me. And I will tread down the people in mine anger, and make them drunk in my fury, and I will bring down their strength to the earth.
When the Messiah returns, where does he go, and what does he do? He goes to every place where the descendants of Esau, the Edomites, have set up their kingdoms, and slaughters them for their perpetual violence against Jacob. He treads the winepress, and his wrath is accomplished. Further proof is in the book of Daniel, which states that in the future, but as many are finding out, the Edomites
me, for I will tread them in my anger, and trample them in my fury, and their blood shall be sprinkled upon my garments, and I will stain all my raiment. For the day of vengeance is in mine heart, and the year of my redeemed is come. And I looked, and there was none to help, and I wondered that there was none to uphold. Therefore mine own arm brought salvation unto me, and my fury it upheld me. And I will tread down the people in mine anger, and make them drunk in my fury, and I will bring down their strength to the earth.
When the Messiah returns, where does he go, and what does he do? He goes to every place where the descendants of Esau, the Edomites, have set up their kingdoms and slaughters them for their perpetual violence against Jacob.
Hey, so you see it, you hear it. That's beautiful, man. The Lord was edifying. Got to give all praises and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shah, Bahashim Rikad Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elder bishops and elders of great millstone who well, who teach well, who are the apostles and elders of all of Israel, already concepted or not. And a sincere salutation to all the argument pushing this truth. I'm believing this truth throughout the four winds of the earth, the entire world, waking up the whole for the elect. Shalom to the Awat who are listening and learning. You few sisters who are listening and learning. I'm Isaiah from GMS Orlando Count coming at you another lesson. Hey, the water for tuning in. May you help by Shema Shah continue blessing your houses. Hey, the water for tuning in. The water for the pre-sales, big brother. The water for them pre-sales, bro. Fire pre-sales on the comment board. The water. So, yeah, this is from my Elder Yashawama's channel. Two true and through. What is it? Two through and information. Salakia. Fire, man. Fire. You don't get no better than this, man. For real. So again, the bonus to the apostles and elders of great millstone who rule well, who teach well, who taught us this truth, man. And a sincere salutation to all the Akim pushing this truth throughout the four corners of the earth, the entire world, making up the hopeful elect. And shalom to the Agwath who are listening and learning, you few sisters who are listening and learning. And until next time, I say shalom. Wah abab for tuning in. May Yahweh Shema Shah continue blessing your houses. Stay prayed up, man.